Welcome to another episode of JEiiNCLUSIVE. Like, comment, subscribe, and set your notifications so you are alerted every time I upload. Before we dive into things, I want to make mention of the hotline banner that will flash at the bottom of the screen throughout this video. If you are in a DV situation, please utilize the information located at the bottom of the screen. There are people working around the clock to assist you with anything you may need. Now, let's get into today's case. November 10th, around 9:15 p.m., Greensboro police, fire officials, and Guilford County EMS responded to Guilford College Road after receiving a phone call about shots having been fired in the area. Once on the scene, police discovered the body of a woman inside a 2014 Honda Accord, suffering from 3 gunshot wounds. EMS tried reviving the unidentified woman, but it was too late, as she had already succumbed to her injuries. 25-year-old Quanesha Shantel was born in Haiti. Coco's friend reported that her father had died when she was 2, and since her mother gave birth to Coco at the tender age of 14, they essentially grew up together, strengthening their bond as not only mother and daughter, but as best friends. Coco grew up in Greensboro, North Carolina, and at a very young age, she knew something was different about herself. In an interview with the Greensboro News and Record, Coco's mother, Toy Nicole, recalled Coco coming to her at the age of 11, expressing to her mother that she felt as though she was transgender. You wouldn't imagine that a young person would know it at that age, but she did, Toy Nicole said. And I told her, I'll support you through it, but if you do it right. And she had it from there. As Coco grew into her own, she began to show interest in the queer subculture, ballroom, which originated in the 1970s in Harlem, New York City, and to this day is a vibrant part of LGBTQIA+ culture. Those who participate in ballroom prepare for months before going to competitive events where they compete in categories like dance, fashion, and runway. Categories are designed to satirize and epitomize social classes, gender constructs, and occupations. Those who participate in ballroom often join houses, family-like kinship networks that provide shelter and a sense of community for LGBTQ+ people, specifically those in the Black community. Houses are led by mothers and fathers, who are more experienced members of the ballroom scene. Mothers and fathers also provide guidance, food, and shelter for members of their house. While going through a rough patch in her younger years, Coco joined the House of Mizrahi after a chance encounter with her mentor and drag father, Big Baby. As she flourished, Coco began recruiting her friends to participate, and according to her loved ones, Coco truly came into her own once she began doing ballroom competitions around the southeast part of the country. Coco was a hairstylist, escort, and OnlyFans model. After taking steps to leave sex work behind, Coco was excited about her future, as she had recently enrolled in nursing school. Unfortunately, she would never get the chance to fulfill that dream. Jeremy Reynolds was a high school sports analyst who would often post clips of his interviews with players on his YouTube channel.
People, Air Force commit, of course. Talk to the people about your performance tonight. If I'm not mistaken, you had 3 scores on the ground?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So tell me what was going through your mind out there.
Hey, man, we just had to win. Hey, I say, got to break the white-on-white curse, but at the end of the day, we play as a family. That's it, really.
Definitely.
He was also a doting father to his daughter, whom he shared with his girlfriend, Marissa. And much like Coco, Jeremy was very outgoing, which made sense as to how he and Coco began dating. Although Jeremy was outgoing, there was one part of his life in which he chose to keep private. Jeremy was DL, with an attraction towards trans women. After dating for 2 years, the connection between Jeremy and Coco began to unravel. With Coco focused on creating a brighter and more stable future for herself, she knew she had to leave him behind.
How I sleep at night, knowing I'm not getting cheated on because I...
According to her friends, Coco had broken up with Jeremy back in July, but his obsession would not allow him to let her go. Over the course of the next 4 months, Jeremy continued to call and text Coco, begging to see her, but Coco refused to give in. However, The charmer convinced her to see him one last time. According to Coco's mother, on the morning of Sunday, November 10, 2024, Coco seemed happy. She was full of joy, laughing, and if there was something going on at that time, she didn't mention any problems to her mother. Later that day, Coco made her way to the residence of her estranged boyfriend in hopes of getting through to him that she had moved on. After arriving at Jeremy's home, things took a turn for the worse. If Jeremy could not have Coco, neither could anyone else. As Coco began to drive off, Jeremy pulled out a weapon and shot multiple rounds through the driver's side window of her car. Determined to live, Coco continued driving, but due to her injuries, it is believed she began to lose consciousness, resulting in her losing control of her car, which caused it to crash into a nearby building. Jeremy was arrested and charged with first-degree murder and discharging a barreled firearm into an occupied vehicle. He was denied bond when he appeared in Guilford County District Court on Wednesday, November 13th, and is currently being held at the Guilford County Detention Center. As news began to spread about Coco's untimely passing and Jeremy's arrest, several other women came forward and expressed that, although Jeremy seemed to be the life of the party, he had a darker, more sinister vibe that freaked some of them out. One woman stated that she was going to work with Jeremy to produce a sports podcast. However, she ended up having to cut him off because even though they were not romantically involved, he became possessive to the point she had to change her phone number and block him on every social media platform. According to friends of Coco, obsession and the fear of Coco telling others about his double life caused Jeremy to end hers. But according to Jeremy's cousin, there is more to the story. On Facebook, he posted, "This all I'm going to say, and I'm going to leave it at this. Death before dishonor, family over everything. Whatever my cousin's sexual preference is, that's his willful right. However, it's three sides to the story. It's his side, they side, and it's the truth. No matter what, we ride together, we die together." He ended his post with, "And if you play, you will lay." His sentiments threw some people off, with one person commenting that of course he would support Jeremy's decision to end Coco's life, because allegedly he too was on the down low. Approximately 22.5% of trans women reported sexual abuse to the hotline in 2023, which is higher than the average of 14.2%. Verbal abuse as it pertains to trans women may involve using incorrect or offensive pronouns such as it to refer to the transgender partner, ridiculing the transgender partner's body or appearance, telling the transgender partner that he or she is not a real man or woman. Oftentimes, these type of men will take advantage of a trans woman's insecurities or their lack of emotional and financial support from family and friends. Considering only 1 out of 8 people of trans experience have support from their family, it can make transgender individuals feel as though they only have their abusive partner. Toxic masculinity is a trait found in many down-low men. Aggression and violence in these men are frequently attributed to the need for them to fulfill masculine ideals. These ideals being the distorted ones of toxic masculinity, suppressed emotions, assertive dominance, defending their masculinity when threatened, using violence to prove their masculinity, and exert power and control over their partners. Jeremy couldn't leave Coco alone because he was obsessed over the threat of his secret being exposed. Sure, he could have dated another trans woman, but at that point, one too many people would know about his DL status. Down-low men are never worth the inconvenience and baggage that comes along with them. Transitioning is not an easy process, mentally or financially. So to all of my trans sisters, if you've taken the time and done the work to become the best version of yourself, never let a man put you in the role of being his secret. If he is still dealing with his sexuality and trying to navigate coming out, it is not your responsibility to hold his hand at night, in the shadows, while he parades a cisgender woman around during the daytime. There are a lot of reports circulating the internet, misgendering Coco, using her dead name, and trying to villainize her, as if she was trying to expose Jeremy by coming to his residence, which he shared with his girlfriend. But according to sources, that could not be further from the truth. Coco had been realized her worth. She tried to break things off over the phone, but Jeremy was the one persistent on seeing her. At this time, it is unclear whether Jeremy's girlfriend knew of Coco, but according to a message posted to Facebook, she may have been a witness to the murder. My prayers and condolences go out to everyone affected by this unfortunate situation. Rest in peace, Quanesha Cocoa Shantel.